Cool. So I'm going to ask Kevin and Nick if you guys please can pull up your notes from the Divisional Leadership Academy, and specifically for the assistant managers. So Nick, if you wouldn't mind sharing first, but specifically for the assistant managers, what were some of the things that stood out for you that assistant managers can say, yep, that is practical and applicable to me?
Probably the Impact Focus 5, definitely.
What is the Focus 5?
Advertising, PR program, training seminar, and then in parentheses, the Big Six talk, Fast Start program, and then demo management.
Cool. Would you mind saying that again slower so these guys can write it down?
Yeah.
That was good.
So the Impact Focus 5, the first one is advertising. The second one is a PR program. And the third is the training seminar. And the fourth is the Fast Start program. And the fifth is demo management. And basically, Impact Focus 5 is like, I mean, it's almost kind of self-explanatory, but it's kind of like what you should really focus on to make sure that you're like the most efficient, successful AM, at least when it comes to these 5 skills, which is very important for growing your office.
Cool. That's excellent. Thank you for sharing, Mr. Shields. Kevin or Landon, what about you guys, specifically for assistant managers?
This is from Saturday.
So what was the question? Sorry.
Specifically for assistant managers, what did you learn that you can share, both for each other and also for the people that weren't there?
The first one is
Bingo. I'm still thinking of something.
so I got a lot of notes. Probably the biggest would be the Facebook Jumpstart.
Tell me about Facebook
What I
Jumpstart.
learned from that. So also the recruiting session and the need to build bigger teams. And I was in Facebook Jumpstart. So building your network, research schools and outline target schools, and then have your profile checked on Facebook and have them give you feedback on profile picture, and then also utilize school websites or Max Preps to create target lists, add on Facebook and build your network. And then I have 4 steps for all that. You want me to go through the steps?
The short version, yeah.
Okay, so step 1, make your profile look cool. And some things for that is make your social media platforms recruiting ready, change the living tab to your territory, and then have pictures of you having fun like a normal person, not just a recruiter. Step 2 is find names of sharp kids in your territory using Max Preps and the school websites. And some ways to do that is open the Friends tab on Facebook and start adding people from the same high school. And you want to build over 2,000 friends in your territory and surrounding areas by mid-April. That's minimum. And then you need to start early to build up to 50 to 100 mutual friends. And then also a good tip that I got from David was add people on the evening and weekends, never the mornings. And then step 3 is develop an online relationship with them to create recognition to you and your name. So when they receive a message, they will not think of you as just a random person.
So what does that mean?
So interact with as many, or how to do that, you mean?
Yeah, what is this when you say build a relationship with them? What does that look like?
So you want to interact with as many posts as possible with comments and reactions to the posts. So just like what David said is they'll see your face and your name and they'll ring a bell for later in the future when you try to recruit them, do the recruiting stuff. So say things like, that's awesome, super cool, love this. Send happy birthday messages and post on their wall, and then post only positive content on Facebook that they will like and share. And then step 4 was stay consistent. So this isn't a program you can go hard on for just a week and you're good. The more consistent you can be, the bigger your network you can build, and the better the relationships will be.
Cool. I know David shared this. Hopefully you guys got it. How do you do this effectively without wasting all of your time on Facebook?
Schedule 30 minutes a day to friend people. Of course, I saw the video today of lesson 2, and then it was like Andrew. I can't remember what his last name was, but Andrew, he was saying how he would, since he was in college, he would, every time he had like downtime, like if he had like class, let's say if he had a class at 2:30 and then another one at 3, between 2:30 and 3, he would like do friend requests, like send them out, and then just time when you're not really doing much. So 30 minutes to like an hour, or mostly closer to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
to send friend request.
That is a key, by the way, is make sure you're organized with this. So what the top people do is 30 minutes a day. What you don't want is that you're taking like 2-3 hours. And it's like, what'd you do today? Facebook. Not a great use of your time, right? It's one of those things that is important, but it's not going to put money in your pocket today. It's not going to put your money in your pocket tomorrow. We're looking at like May when those will start putting money in your pocket. So I was talking to a manager the other day, right? And this manager that I was talking to had a really strong January, and then sales went to poo-poo in February, right? And I was like, well, what are you doing to fix that? And his comment was, oh, well, I'm not really doing anything about it now. I'm more focused on my sales for the summer and creating that. And if I was a better friend, I would have called him on his BS, but I wasn't a good enough friend. So I was like, oh, sounds good. But in my mind, I was thinking that was BS. In hindsight, I should have been a better friend. Maybe I'll call that person again and be like, hey, let me redo our conversation. But the thing that went through my head was, hey, we need sales in May too. We need sales in June too. But we need sales today, right? You can't feed yourself based on your thinking about sales in the summer, right? For a sales rep, it's the same thing. And this applies to all of you guys who are actively selling right now. We'll need sales next week. We'll need sales in March, but we need sales now. Make sure you guys can feed yourself so that you survive until March, And it's the same thing here. Like, yeah, we need this stuff. It does have a very big impact on our business. What you don't want is to be spending an hour, 2 hours a day, jumping on Facebook like 3 and 4 times a day. It's not going to feed you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So what the top people do is they block off 30 minutes, right? They go on, they spend you got to first off start by making sure your profile is tight. Okay, so if you haven't done this already, go through Module 1 and Module 2. Those get you situated with your Facebook profile. And you want to get it audited. By the way, for all of the new additions to the Leadership Academy, I added you to our team GroupMe. So if you already have GroupMe, it should show up as our Leadership Academy. And if you don't have GroupMe, download GroupMe and you're in there already. And by the way, that is not my Leadership Academy. That is the entire DC Metro division, every office. I'm saying this for the people that are new. But get your profile audited by someone. So Charlie Graney asked me today, how do I know if my profile's good? And I said, post in GroupMe and ask someone to look at it, right? And almost immediately he got someone take him up on that. So that is the thing. Once you have your profile tight, you want to start adding friends. Now, before you start adding friends, if you're going to be a branch or a district manager, you're going to be starting in your own territory. If you're going to be an assistant manager, talk to me first, please, and I'll tell you which schools to target. Because what we want for my office is if we're going to have 5 people on this, I don't want everybody to be friends with the class from Annapolis High School, right? So I want to make sure that we're allocating, hey, this is your school, this is your school. So talk to me before you start friending. But you want to do that. And what a lot of people do is they go in and 3 things. First one is you just go to your birthday notifications. It shows up right on the right-hand side. And they type in a happy birthday message. Okay. I will confess that when I do this, I just stole it from Al D. Leonardo. He's the CEO of the company. He does this for every manager and every CSP on their birthday. And I was like, hey, let me do this for everybody who's not a district manager or CSP, so they don't know I stole it, right? But I just say, happy birthday, have a great day celebrating your life. Okay, that's it. That's right. So I just copy paste, good enough. And you would be amazed at how many people notice that, appreciate it, respond directly, even people that are only Facebook friends, not real friends. The second thing he does is he goes through, this is David, he's already put everybody in a list. That's one of the first modules on the Facebook Jumpstart program. But he just goes to the list and he'll just pull up every person, open up a tab, and just like and comment on one recent post. Right? So if they posted 10 things that day, he'll just pick one, like it, and comment it. If it's already got over 50 likes, he'll heart it or smiley face it or something so they get a separate notification. If you guys are familiar with Facebook, if you have 50 likes, it'll say this person, and 47 others liked your post, but you'll get a separate notification for the people that hearted it. And the goal is that you're getting your name in front of them. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that typically will take between 5 and 10 minutes. It's very quick. And then for the last 20 to 25 minutes, he's going through and adding friends. And he has an entire separate browser window open. So it's like, hey, here's my normal internet stuff. And then I've got a whole separate browser with just people to friend and friend to their friends. And you want to set it so it's 30 minutes and then you're done. Right? 30 minutes and then you're done, just so it's not consuming all of your time. I was talking to Kevin about that last week where he was like, yeah, I'm going to spend this much time. And I said, dude, you should do it, but do it faster. Right? And his comment was, and I'm not picking on you, but his comment, he's like, dude, like this stuff takes time. I was like, I know, it'll suck your time, right? And prevent you from making money, and it'll take food out of your mouth. So this isn't the sprint, this is the marathon, so we're just going to be chopping away at it, so that by the time we get to April, we've chopped down the tree, but we're not trying to chop down the tree in a day. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
So I appreciate you sharing that, Landon. Kevin, anything else you wanted to share specific to assistant managers?
Yeah, so one of the things I learned today was that it's mostly focused on the Facebook thing. It was that whenever you're friending people, you should only look for three kinds of people, which is academic people, athletes, and high achievers. That's it. And then that's it.
Cool. And then for Kevin specifically, anything that you can share specifically for the people that are opening up branch and district offices this summer that you took away from the Saturday?
One of the biggest, one of the biggest things that I took from David, or I think it was maybe Connor, it was that don't wait until like the last minute to get like the Facebook thing done. Because if you start friending people like a week before you open up, then you're not gonna be able to do it. Because Facebook only lets you like friend request 1,000 people, so you won't be able to get like the full 5,000 in like a day or a week or even a month.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
And then anything specifically for branch and districts?
Just to mostly start practicing your interviews, then of course your training. Of course the training will be the most time consuming one, but for start off with interviews, like practicing with your stuffed animal.
I'm asking, what did we take away from Saturday? I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got a couple things for you guys. I'm going to ask you to take a little bit of notes here. One, this is specifically for the branch and district managers, but office searching. Okay, office searching needs to be done ASAP. I've already received the first leads from Kayla and from Becky. And again, tomorrow we have a district manager staff meeting. And on Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be in your territories looking for office space. So I need you to get me leads ASAP. Do not wait on that. The worst feeling in the world is when we show up at the summer kickoff and you don't have an office space. And you're like, I've got a plaque saying I'm a district manager, but I don't have an office to go to. It's stressful AF, right? Even recently, we opened up DeGogo Abibali's office, and DeGogo had a training seminar that was supposed to be run, and he did not have an office to run it in. I don't know what he did. He did something, right? But he literally was running training and didn't have an office yet. So now that is settled, I guarantee you he would tell you that took a load of pressure off. So I know I walked through on Saturday. It's a long process. It's not like a Cutco demo. Like I get a lead, I call the lead, I can close a sale the next day. Like it can sometimes take from the time we start negotiation to the time we have a closed deal. It can take a month or more, right? So I know everybody else in the division, they're waiting until March to get this done, but I'm not waiting. We're trying to get this done now because I want to make sure we're taking care of our peeps. Your part is to get me leads. Okay, we talked about Craigslist, Google, and LoopNet.com to start. And if you're in an area where you're able to go visit your territory, also driving through and just looking at all the for rent and for lease signs that you can. Number 2, for branch and district managers only, I'll put this up on the whiteboard, but you need to get your school dates entered. Okay, I need to get your school dates entered. The website is ldvmdirect.com. The password is all lowercase, NE region 1. And you can do all of this just from Google search. Okay, in my area, I searched Annapolis High School graduation and was able to pull up the day, the time, the location, and all of it. And you can do this for every school, but you want to have this information saved. I'm going to also write it up on the board. You want to have this in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, because you're also going to be making your advertising campaign based around when the schools let their students out. Right? So we target our advertising campaign based on when they're in school and when they're done with school. Because obviously for the majority of them, they start job hunting shortly before finals, right? And then if they don't have a job locked up before finals, you have about 5 to 7 days to catch them. And then most of your people will have a job of some sort, right, within a week. So we target our advertising campaign around that. So you want to have that information, and then you need to send it to LDVM Direct, because they're the ones that handle our direct mail campaign. So Kevin was asking me like, hey, do I need to hire a company? Do I need to like create advertising? And I was like, nope, that is already done. You just need to give us the dates, and then we already have a company that'll take care of your entire direct mail campaign. But they need that info to be able to do it. So you want to get that done.
I thought the password for Northeast region was, instead of the O, it was like a 0.
That's what Colin gave us. Right?
Yeah, but he said the O wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a
O,
zero.
it was a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
Colin said.
So the
That's
password
right.
for LDVM Direct, it's either NE region 1 or Northeast. That's a 0. It's one or the other. I'm pretty sure it's
No, for-
NE.
The R is the no, I mean the O in region is this what's it called? The 0. Mhm.
Okay, so sorry. On the recording, I apologize, my whole self. It's either NE region 1 or NE region 1. I'm pretty sure it's the first one, but whatever. Try one, doesn't work. Try the other one, it'll work. That's all you need to know, right? But you need to get that done ASAP. And then as a bonus, specific for the branch and district managers, start finding your office furniture, right? We talked about this, but the ideal price to pay for office furniture is $0. Okay, I talked to at the thing how I got all of my yellow chairs that people make fun of me for. They're like, oh, your office looks like a Crayola factory. Yeah, because all the yellow chairs were effing free. So I give 0 Fs, right, about how it looks like Crayola. Don't care. And then, yes, you want to get free stuff. You can get desks. I talked about how I got a desk for $5 at a yard sale. But start scrounging around. You can ask customers. You can ask high schools. You can ask churches. We got all the yellow chairs from a church, by the way. They had literally used it for like their youth group. And then the youth group got new chairs, and they just had these chairs in storage. So we got them, hosed down all the spider webs off, and they were $0, which is what you're looking for, right? For all manager candidates, whether you're going to be a branch, a district, an assistant, a field sales rep, an events rep, doesn't matter. Everybody whether you're opening an office or not. Number one, the gentleman already talked about having your Facebook profile done and audited. The deadline for that is February 11th. But I would say don't wait till February 11th. They talked about that in modules 1 and 2, which by this time those should be completed. So as soon as you've got your profile updated.
That's today.
Mm-hmm. It would do today.
Were you doing that?
Today's February 11th, so get it done.
Yeah, to send it to Kate.
Also, I had no idea today was February 11th already. Time flies when you're having fun. Also, I'm going to ask you guys, help me out here. Kayla's doing a Facebook Jumpstart workshop. I know it's on Wednesday. What time did you guys schedule it for?
It was
Well-
right after.
Well, we did 2:30, but we'll be in Towson.
No, just doing it in Towson.
Yeah,
we're
doing it
right
after.
after.
So we decided we're doing it in Towson.
That was the plan.
Yeah, I know your events training ends at 2. Are you guys going to wait until 2:30 or just like,
do it right after. I think we just.
Yeah, because she said she has class. So
cool.
like,
And then how long did you guys block off for it?
I thought it was only 30 minutes. I mean, that's what it's
For
it is.
you, because you need to come back and get an interview.
Mhm.
But for everybody else, did she schedule a time limit?
No.
I don't believe so.
Okay. So for all of you guys, this Wednesday, which is February 13th, Kayla Harris will be running a Facebook Jumpstart workshop beginning at 2. If I had to guess, it'll be between 60 and 90 minutes. But what she'll do is, assuming that your profile's been audited already, she's going to walk you through some strategies and keys for creating content, interacting with content, and friending. And she's got a couple secret tools that she uses to get this done even when she's sleeping. So she'll share that with you. And the goal is the videos and the workshops in Facebook Jumpstart group are wonderful, but Kayla was one of the top managers that executed at a high level, and she's going to hold your hand as you get started. So that is not a mandatory meeting, but if you are able to be in that meeting, please do. The Zoom will be active, and I cannot promise that it'll be recorded, so just to be safe, don't count on there being a recording. Another big one is for everybody who's a student, talk to your professors now about getting out of finals early. Okay, we talked about this at the Leadership Academy. I'm going to ask you guys, I know that in front of me, none of you are students, but I'm going to ask you guys, Kate talked about this a lot. What can you share about getting out of finals early that Kate shared?
Unless you guys want to go. So basically she said what you want to do is you want to approach your professors now, just so that one, it's not like you're ambushing them last second at like, May, like probably the day before your final, like, hey, I got to leave early. Like you want to do it now, because she said, I'm pretty sure she said almost all of her professors, if not every single professor, was able to work something out, whether it was you working a little bit extra and then finishing the curriculum early, whether it was like you get an alternate assignment for the final. Pretty much every single professor, unless they absolutely despise you, will accommodate you. And the reason you want to do that is because you will get a head start. If you're opening your own office, you get a head start on all of May, being able to recruit people, run trainings, and be up and ready, as opposed to like getting out May 15th, May 22nd, and then like you get ready the following week, and then by then you've already lost all of May. So basically it's just to ironically get you a fast start to the summer and capitalize on your
One of the keys is that the southern schools, the ones in like Georgia, North Carolina, down south, a lot of our students go to, they start coming home in the first week of May, right? So if our management team isn't getting out of school until the second week of May, we miss a lot of those key players that are home early. And if we miss them, we still have other people that we can get when the high schools break. But we don't want to lose that many recruits, especially with one of our targets for the summer being to go back to the way we used to recruit. Right? I think Kate shared her numbers. Her best summer ever recruited, was it 400 people, 500 people?
No, it was 800. Her worst was last
I think 500 in the summer.
Oh yeah.
Right, it was like 500 people in a summer that she had selling Cutco.
Yeah.
And then last year was one of her worst. It was like 120. That's an 80% dip. So one of our goals this year is to get back to our recruiting strength that we've had in the past and need to have again. And one of the keys to that is capitalizing on our students when they get home from school. And one of the ways to do that is to have our leadership teams in place, right, going in. So one of the keys is just talk to your professors about your opportunity. Simply tell them what you're going to be doing, right? That you have an opportunity to be a manager for the branches and districts, to literally open your own franchise, for the assistant managers to get promoted into a management position. And I would definitely talk about the experience that you're getting, the resume opportunity, the future opportunities that could lead to, whether it's in Vector or elsewhere, and just talk to them about why it's so important to be back at the beginning of summer. And I can vouch, the same as Kate, I've never had a teacher tell me that I wasn't allowed to do my finals early. What they don't want is that you're like, oh, let me just get to my finals early and slack off, right? But when you tell them, my goal is to complete the entire course, complete the material, get a good grade, and do it before the deadline, right? So that I can take advantage of this opportunity. In my experience, every single one of them was like, that's awesome. Right? So you just want to have those conversations early. Beautiful. The last thing I want to talk about for this evening is PRs. And then if we have time, I'd like to share another John Maxwell module with you if we have time for it. But for this part, I'm going to ask you to take some notes here. At our workshop on Saturday, one of the things we discussed was how PRs are the name of the game, right? If you want to move your business forward, we take all of our advertising sources, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse, because for everybody who is local, we talked about it on Saturday, and there's a very good chance this will be included in the recordings that you guys get. But we have our direct mail. But direct mail, the advantage is that all we have to do is spend money, and then it happens automatically, and people come in to interview, right? And they're like, oh, I got the letter in the mail. That's the advantage. The disadvantage is that some years it's awesome, some years it's the opposite of awesome. And once the letter's in the mail, you just don't know until it happens. So we don't count on it, right? I think Kate talked about one of the top managers, top recruiting managers. He expects every year, he's like, whatever I got last year, I expect it to be a certain percentage worse, right? So that if it's better, great. But he makes his entire plan around it being worse. Same thing for the internet, web, Craigslist, Monster, Hot Jobs, Indeed, all of it. Same deal. Spend the money, people come in and apply, but it could be up or it could be down. So he just automatically expects it to be worse, right? Active advertising, we work really hard at it, and we always get really good people from it. But sometimes we only get 1 good people. Sometimes we get 10 good people, right? So just automatically not assuming it'll be great. And the one that we have the most control over is PR. So what I want to do today is just give you a high level overview of our program. Okay. So in the past, what we used to do was just completely brute force it. Some of you guys have heard me talk before about having a receptionist team that was like 12 people strong plus a receptionist manager. By the way, in my office, that middle room and the back room, both of those were receptionist rooms. Okay, sales reps weren't even allowed in there. And it wasn't quite cubicles, but it was close to cubicles, where we would have 12 people all over the place. I had 12 phones in the office. So like right now we have the 1 phone, then the spare phone. We had a bank. I think it was more like 18 phones. So that as batteries went dead, we would just switch wires over and like, here's a fresh phone. Keep going. Right?
Awesome.
It was awesome until I wrote the paychecks. And the paychecks, I was writing checks for between $2,000 and $3,000 a week. It was a lot. Now the key is that never once ever did that fail to be profitable. Right? In fact, it was literally a program where the more money you threw at it, the more money you would get out of it. And so as managers, we made every effort to put as many dollars as we could into that program. Because like put in $1, get $1.50 out. Put in $1, get $1.50 out. Right? If you were guaranteed to get $1.50 for every dollar, it's a 50% return on investment. Right? So we're like, let's see how many dollars I can put in there. Now, you guys already heard this, but last year we came up with the texting program, which while it was great, it took all of our control away. Right? Completely stripped us of our control, which is why every single office, Kate gave her own example. You've heard mine before. I don't know if I told you my exact numbers. My numbers were similar to Kate's. My best recruiting summer I've ever had was 384. And last year I don't even know the exact number. I stopped looking at the report when it got really discouraging and depressing. But it was right in the ballpark of 100. Right? So we also had between a 60 and 80% drop off in recruitment. And I think I've told you guys this before, but the upside is that our average rep sold more dollars per rep, but we had less reps, so we still got less sales total, right? So the goal this year is to get our recruiting intensity back. So I just want to give you a quick overview now. The 4 sources where we can get PRs from. Number 1 are from the end of the interviews. Number 2 is from training. Number 3 is from our assistant managers. I forget, for the guys who were there on Saturday, did Kate give a number of PRs that she expects from the assistant managers?
Yes, she did.
What was that? It was about the same as ours.
Like, do you mean per week or in the simulation where she was like, I want you to recruit 50 people for branches, 150 for a DM?
I'm asking for an assistant manager. How many did she expect you to personally refer from your own network?
From our own network. I think it was
10?
Yeah, it was either 10 or 20. I think it was 10 for May.
Yeah. So we're looking for assistant managers to recruit 10 friends in May. That's a combination of your own personal network plus your Facebook Jumpstart network that you're building. And then the last one, and I don't know if Kate talked about this on Saturday, is we call them 5-star recruits.
Mhm.
Okay, 5-star recruits
What is that?
is when you have your top sales reps. In our case, like any of you guys in Leadership Academy, right? Where I would say Beth Owen is a 5-star recruit. I would want to get, not as a manager, but as a sales rep, I would want to get Beth Owen's friends, right? By the way, the day before Beth left for school, I asked her for PRs and she gave me like 180 PR names, right?
That's good.
Appreciate Beth Owen. Like a Julian Lidelma, not as a Leadership Academy manager, but as a rep, right? Julian was someone I liked a lot. In fact, I let him ride in my car very early in his career, earlier than any of you guys, right? And so Julian, and I dropped the ball. I didn't ask Julian for more PRs before he left for school. But and if I could go back and do it over, I would have asked Julian after training, like, dude, I need more Julian Lidelmas. Who you got, right? Just as an example. And then as we go through the summertime, we'll have some really good reps. And so we don't want to just get PRs from them in training and never ask again. We want to continue asking. Just like as a sales rep, you get your customers, they give you some. You get your customers that give you none. But then you get those people that give you a bunch and they're really good leads. You keep going back and asking that customer for more leads. It's the exact same concept. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. Now, our program this summer, and I'm just going to give you an overview right now because the honest truth is I don't have all the details yet. Up until now, we've been sending all of our PRs to the text to schedule service, right, where Kayla will text them and schedule as many interviews as possible. And then we have receptionists and managers calling them. That may, and I'm going to find out more details at our staff meeting tomorrow, but that may change. I know some offices have been using a program called Office Conveyor, where they send 50% of them up to Kayla, and then they keep 50% of them for the office to text, right? And they go 50-50. Now, our top 10 list, we've already been doing this, but I have the reps in training write me a list of their top 10 people, and we have the managers and the receptionists call those first. You'll hear this, so I want you to be aware of it. I don't call it top slice. I just call it top 10 because that's what it is. But if you hear managers teaching, especially an event like this past Saturday or summer kickoff, if you hear them talking about the top slice program, that is the top 10s, right? And the goal is to get 100% of those scheduled on Friday or on Saturday. So we're starting the week, right, with our best people coming into interview right away.
So top slice, you asked them for in the second day of training, like close to that.
It's part of the PR talk.
Okay. And last question. You know how whenever you have like the app and you're collecting PRs from their phone in the app?
Let me come back to that.
Okay.
That's a PR collection topic.
Mhm.
Right now I'm talking about a PR scheduling topic.
Okay.
But if you write that down, I will certainly answer it for you.
Okay.
The next one is we're going to have, we're going to have receptionists. I know for our branch managers, they'll all have 1 or 2 receptionists. Our new district managers will have between 1 and 3 receptionists. And then in our pillar offices, so this is my office, I don't know the exact number yet, but it's looking like we're probably going to have 6 receptionists. Plus, every assistant manager, part of their duties will be to schedule PRs on a weekly basis. And again, this is something I don't have all the details on yet. But I was talking to Kyle Preman, who's one of the top division manager, and he does something called interest texts. Okay, he gave me his scripts. I'm going to talk to him more to get information on that. I'm going to talk to Kate to see if that's something we want to implement in our office. As of right now, it is not. And I will tell you from experience, and I hope you guys understand this, in the past, we've experimented with texting people. And what I found is that everybody who got involved with texting became hesitant to call, right? Like, I don't want to call, I only want to text, right? It became a way out. And texting is effective, and we've been able to schedule people by text effectively. But if we only text and we don't call, it's just like anything else. It's like trying to fix a car and only using half the tools in your toolbox, right? Like, oh, this one's pretty. It's bright neon green. You know, I don't want to use the orange one anymore. And that orange one, man, it's a workhorse, you know? I don't know if that made sense, but I hope it did. It made sense
Yeah.
to me. My wife just bought a new tool and it's got a neon green handle and she loves it. Whatever. But you guys get the idea. So I've been hesitant to allow receptionists or managers to text because there was one year, a couple years ago, when we still had a full receptionist team, and I wanted them all to text people and then call them. And all of my receptionists like, oh, I don't want to call. I only want to text. Right. And I eventually had to fire all of my receptionists who were texting people and hire new people who I didn't allow to call, or I didn't allow to text rather. Right. That was where we had to get to. So I'm interested in the text, but I'm hesitant about it for this at the same time. So I'm going to find more information on that. That may or may not be a part of our program this summer. And then the last thing is receptionists. And for anybody who's running a branch or a district office, or for my recruiting manager in my office, you're going to have to be familiar with hiring and training and payroll, right? Otherwise, you're just going to have to be the best receptionist. I do tell people all the time, and I'll still tell you to this day, I am the best male receptionist in Vector Marketing Corporation. Okay, you're welcome to challenge me on that. But I'm the best male receptionist in Vector. Okay, every single one of you guys should have that level of swagger where I'm the best receptionist in Vector. There's no one better than me, right? No receptionist can beat you, okay? And what does that look like? That looks like getting really good at the receptionist script. How do you get good at the receptionist program? One of you guys was asking me about this earlier, I forget who, right? How do you get good at it? Number one is just practice, okay? I'll upload all of the receptionist scripts on the website so that you can start getting familiar with them. Number two, it's going to be role playing it out loud. Number three, it's shadowing, right? Find someone who's good at it and shadow. By the way, I'll tell you, for those of you who are in my office now, you should do this now. And for those of you who are going to be coming back in the summer, a pattern that I've noticed is that Jessica is a kick-ass receptionist. She's killing the game. And yet she gets left in her office alone making calls. No one's making calls with her right now, right? You guys are staying in your comfort zone, hanging out in the back office where it's comfortable. You're like, oh, I got my buddy. I'm going to do it with my friends. That's cool. I don't know if it's getting you better though. Right? So I would say you should notice, by the way, I'm talking to Jessica about potentially being my recruiting manager for the summer. Just FYI.
Nice.
Okay? I don't know how nice that is. It's going to cost me a lot of money. Might be money I'm willing to spend though.
Yeah, if it's worth it, then yeah.
Might be money I'm willing to spend. Either way. But she's doing a really nice job. So I would say don't go with what's easy. Don't go with what's comfortable. Go with what's going to grow you. Right? Go where it's going to get you better. Put yourself in that environment. So I would say I'd like to see you guys in there with Jessica, both listening to her making calls, asking her to listen to you make calls, doing it with her. Right? That is definitely a way to get good. As I get more clarity on what our exact program is going to be between texting, calling, interest texts, office conveyor, there's a couple moving parts that I'm hoping to have answers to tomorrow at our staff meeting. But my hope is that once we get those moving parts nailed down, that I can present to you guys a concrete game plan in the coming weeks. And then once we know the concrete plan, that we can start practicing and role playing during our Leadership Academy sessions together. One quick thing, and this is again specifically for you guys here, but we don't use the PR's unreached script. We use the other one, just FYI. For those of you who aren't in the office, you're like, what is that? Don't know more about it. We just don't use that one. Anyway, let me pause there because that was a whole lot. And I know for some of you guys, half of what we just talked about went a little bit over your head. We're like, what are we talking about? I get that, right? I get that. For those of you that are new, I want to expose you to what it looks like to be a recruiter. And then for those of you guys in your second semester, you got the exposure last semester. My goal now is that you start to have a better understanding and ownership of these systems that we use. But let me take a step back and give any of you guys, whether you're physically here or on teleconference, a chance to ask any questions you have specific to scheduling PRs.
When are you setting PRs so I can shout at you?
That's a great question. I have it in my calendar. If I can find you the answer quickly, I'll give it to you now.
Okay.
If I can't give it to you quickly, I will get back to you with it.
Okay.
While I'm looking through my calendar really quick, any other questions that you guys have on the stuff that we covered so far? Oh, actually, I found the answer. On Sunday,
Or something?
this Sunday,
I'll be.
I'm running a receptionist meeting from 2 to 3, and then I will be calling PRs with the team from 3 to 4.
Mhm.
And then again on March 3rd, I'm running a receptionist meeting from 2 to 3, and then I'll be calling PRs with the team from 3 to 4.
It's March 3rd, 2 to 3.
Mm-hmm. Those are my next 2 times that I'm doing it.
Okay.
Also, February 17th, Battle Angel Alita is on my schedule of things to do. It's important.
To what?
Never mind.
What's that?
It's important. Never mind. It's important to me. Anyway, other questions you guys have?
Do you know off the top of your head which one you're scheduling, or is it in the schedule? Or shadowing, or is it in the schedule?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it is in the schedule.
Shouting that.
Cool.
Shadowing the
Reception.
Julian or Will, anything for you guys before we move on? Can't hear you, so I'm assuming that's a no. Beautiful. Let me do this. I would like to wrap up. Excuse me. And Julian, if you don't mind turning off your camera, just like we did last week, I'd appreciate it, just so it doesn't show up on the recording. But I want to share one of the things from John Maxwell with you. And I will share, this has been awesome. I'm super glad that I invested in this. I've been watching one module every single day. And then this one thing he recommends is 1 hour a day. You'll learn something new. And then 1 hour per week. So I did my first one of these last night. You take an hour to reflect on what you've learned. All right. One of the concepts that he teaches, and I'm still in the process of learning myself and implementing myself. So on this one, I'm not going to take the role of teacher. My goal is more to share what I'm learning with you. That's not in the video I'm about to show you. But one of the concepts he teaches is called ACT, A-C-T. Is whenever you learn something new, ask yourself 3 questions. How can I apply this to my life? So A is, how can I apply this? Second thing is, what do I need to change? So now that I have this information, what do I need to change? And 3, who can I teach this to? And I'll tell you, I've been conflicted on this, and I'm sharing this with you because it's part of my own process, right? I've learned a ton. I've already gone through 11 of the modules, I believe. And on the one hand, right, I wish that I could share with you guys every single day what I'm learning, but we don't have the time for that. It's simply just not possible, right? On the other hand, I want to share with my wife, but she started on this a little bit later, so we're both doing it for an hour a day, but we're not on the same module, so we can't necessarily discuss it at the end of every day. I'm trying to get her to catch up. Right? I'm definitely not willing to slow down, so I'm trying to get her to catch up. But either way, so that's been something for me where I'm kind of struggling, like, man, I want to be applying this to my own life. I've also noticed, by the way, a habit in myself is that I take really detailed notes. I take about 2 to 3 handwritten pages of notes on every one of these modules. But I haven't been implementing every single one every single day. So that's something I'm working on. So I just wanted to share with you my process, but my goal is, it seems like something that you really enjoyed last time. So if it's bringing value to you, I'd like to incorporate these as much as we're able. Cool. So this one is called The Law of the Mirror. I took a ton of value from it, and I hope that you guys do as well.
I want to talk to you now about the law of the mirror. And the law of the mirror just basically says you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. So this is a law about how do you see yourself when you look in the mirror. Because how you see yourself, how I see myself, has a lot to do with how successful we're going to be and how well we're going to lead others. Let me illustrate visually, kind of get us started on this law, because it's such an important one. When I wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I talked about the law of the lid. And many of you have watched me do this illustration, but I just want to do it because it's so visual. When I teach about leadership and the law of the lid, which basically is the law of the lid, says how well you lead determines how well you succeed. And if this hand represents how well John Maxwell leads, this hand represents my business. My business will always come underneath, but never go higher than the lid on my leadership. My leadership lid will determine the size of my business. Okay, are you with me there? You got it? And so I've used that all around the world, teaching the law of the lid. Now I'm going to teach it with self-image. If this is my self-image right here, okay? And let's say I've got an average self-image. From 1 to 10, I've got a 5 self-image. If this is my self-image, then what I'm able to accomplish and what I'm able to enjoy is always going to come under and never go higher than that lid. And so just as it's important to lift the lid of your leadership, it's important to lift the lid of your self-image. And I'm going to give you 3 self-image statements that will kind of help us really kind of grasp the principle I just taught. Statement number 1. It's impossible to consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent to how we see ourselves. I'll repeat it. It's impossible for me to consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with how I see myself. So when I look in the mirror, this is the law of the mirror. When the mirror, if I see myself as a 3, not very good, low self-image. If I see myself as a 3, it is impossible for me to consistently behave like an 8. You will always move toward the level of your self-image. Always. And so therefore, if I have a low self-image, it's impossible for me to have behavior that's going to be 3, 4, 5 points above what my self-image is. My self-image is the line of my behavior. And now that doesn't mean that I'll have a good day. I mean, I may for a day or 2 rise above my self-image and my behavior. But what I want you to understand is it's just for a day. And then I'll go right back there. When Margaret and I, when we started our family, we had a discussion. It was a pretty nice discussion as I look back on it. You know, I said, you know, we can't insist on everything and expect everything and have rules for everything. So what are the I don't know, 3 or 4 things that we want to live and die? And all the rest of the stuff, we may try to practically tweak it a little bit, but we're not going to live and die. And we sit down. It took a few months, and so we developed on this. And one of the 5 things on this was to do everything in our power to help our children have a good son. And we were going to do everything in our ability to create an environment where they feel good about themselves and feel confident in themselves. Because we understood that self-image line was going to determine a lot of how successful they're going to be. The second self-image thought is this: how we see ourselves determines how we invest in ourselves. Wow. How I see myself is going to determine how I invest in myself. Go back to the mirror. I look in the mirror. As I look in the mirror, I see myself again, a low self-image. I see myself as a 3. What does that mean? If I see myself as a 3, what that means is that I will invest in me to the level of 3. I won't invest level 7, 8, and 9 in me if I see myself as a 3. My self-image will determine how I invest and how much I invest in. I can remember in my early days when Margaret and I got married and graduated from college. 2 weeks later, got married. 2 weeks later, went to our first congregation. And man, they gave me $80 a week, and I paid the utilities. We just now that's if you ever talk to a pastor, they always like to outpour you. It just kind of goes with the DNA. Well, I poured in you. Well, let me tell you how poor I was. Whoa. And then we just kind of but and my Margaret, the thing I hated is when we were in England, is that John went into a bookstore. Because we remember that. But John would always buy it. And I said, Margaret, if I just get this book, I can just read this book. Oh my God, this is going to help me so much. I've been hard waiting. And so I'm poor financially, but rich in self-image. I know people.
Let me just pause it for a moment so we can
that are
buffer.
rich financially and poor.
Yeah, there you go.
But let me explain something to you. Your self-image will determine how much you invest in yourself. Your self-image will determine how much you bet. And what I tell people all the time is this: you've got to bet on yourself. The first person that should bet on you is you. The first person that should invest in you is you. The first person that should step up and say, I'm going to make a commitment to you is you. In fact, if you're not doing those things and someone else is doing it for you, you're in trouble. In fact, my statement is this: I'm not going to bet on you until you bet on me. You bet on you, I'll bet on you. But I'm not betting on you because you bet on me. So you go bet on you. And don't come to me. I love these people who want sponsorship. So would you like to sponsor me? And I got a pat answer, no. And there's a desire to sponsor you. I'll tell you, here's an idea. You sponsor you. Now, when you sponsor you and you go out and put forth the effort, come around, I may help you out. But I'm not going to give you the first dollar. I'm not going to give you the first time. I'm not giving you the first of anything. You give yourself the first of everything. And listen to me carefully. Your self-image will determine how much you will do that. If you have a high self-image, you'll invest in you, you'll bet in you, you'll give up the time, you'll make the commitments. If you have a low self-image, the self-image determines all of this. Number 3, our belief in ourselves influences the belief that others have. You sell yourself short, everybody else will sell you short. You almost determine what your price is. I was a couple of years ago in Dubai speaking, and in the green room, William Bratton, who was the chief of police for New York City. In fact, he just finished the term being chief of police, but really became quite famous when his chief of police was Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor, who really cleaned up New York. So we were having an interesting discussion in the green room, and I was talking about it. I said, you're the guy that turned New York City around. You are the guy. New York City used to kind of be like a skunk place. He came in and cleaned that place up and lowered crime. It just didn't seem marvelous. I said, you got to tell me about it, because I've always wanted, because you made such a beautiful turn. I said, tell me, how'd you turn that around? I'll never forget, he said, well, Johnny, said, my first day as chief of police, I brought in all of my leaders of each borough in the city of New York City. I brought them all together, and I asked them one question. I said, do you believe that we can cut crime in the city? And he said, 3 of them said, well, I don't think we can cut crime, but I think we can kind of keep it where it is. I think we can hold it. I don't think we can. And he said, the other 2 said, oh, yes, we think we can cut crime. We think we can drastically cut crime down. He said, the 3 that thought they couldn't cut crime down, but they could just kind of hold it, he said, I fired them right there. I just fired them. I said, you're gone. He said, the 2 thought they could really reduce crime. He said, John, think about it. Why would I keep a leader who didn't believe in themselves? Why would I keep a leader that didn't believe in their mission? Why would I keep a leader that didn't believe that they could make things better? So how do we, now we've got it. We've got this law of the mirror, this whole issue of self-image. So how do you and I build our self-image? How do I grow that self-image? Because it's essential for all. Think about it. If I'm a 5, I'm only going to accomplish things or a 4, but if I can get that self-image up to a 6 or 7, all of a sudden my life begins to get a lot better, it begins to expand. Let me give you 2 or 3 things. Number 1, guard your self-talk. The most important conversation you have every day is the one with yourself. The most important words that you hear every day are the words that come out of your mouth. The most important thinking you do all day are the thoughts that are between your ears. And so when I say you guard self-talk, what I mean is you got to guard self-talk. Now, I'm assuming you do self-talk. I do self-talk. I hope you talk to yourself. It's a great vital sign if you talk to yourself. You say, well, I don't talk to myself. Well, you need to. You really do. In fact, if you don't talk to yourself, you really need to have a long talk with yourself. I mean, you just need to say, oh, time out for a couple days. I have a long talk with me. Because we go through this conversation, and when I say guard yourself, what I mean is the most important conversation you're going to have, that is the one you have with yourself. It's going to be more important because what you say to yourself, what you think about yourself is more important than anything else. I've known people who were very successful and other people didn't believe it. You with me? But I've never known a person successful that didn't believe in themselves. And it starts with self-talk. There's something valuable about talking to yourself. I do a lot of self-thinking too, but there's a lot of reflection. But there's great value in self-talk. And so I talk to myself all the time. I encourage myself. And because I like to play golf, it's so interesting because a lot of self-talk. In fact, a lot of guys, they talk more to themselves than they talk to each other on the golf course. And I love to watch a golfer. He'll hit a bad shot. He'll say, oh, what a lousy shot. Aren't it a good day? Not keep your head down. And I just listen. And I'll say, let me ask you a question. Do you do this for a profession? Well, what do you mean? I said, do you do this for a living? Well, no. And I said, relax. I said, now, if you did this for a living, you'd be poor. You have to understand, if you did this for a living, oh, you need to talk to yourself, and I need to talk to you, and a whole bunch of people need to talk to you, and the worst you need to do is say quit. Because you're not any good. You're not good. But since you don't do this for a living, relax. Take it good. In fact, golfers, oh my gosh. Golfers sometimes can drive me nuts, especially if they lose their ball and they want me to look for it. So I help them out. I set expectations early in about everything I do. So when we go play golf, I say, let me say something to you. I got a lot of golf balls in my bag. And I'm glad to give them to you if you lose your ball. But I don't want to look for it. I don't want you to look for it. I like to play golf. I didn't wake up this morning and say, gosh, if I could just look for golf balls today. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just get in the weeds and look around for golf balls and where did it go? Did you see it? Oh, where could it be? So I said, I don't want to look for mine. I don't want to look for yours. And I want to play golf. And I don't want to wait on you. So I got in my bag these 4 golf balls. You just take the golf ball, put it down anywhere, put it close to the hole. I don't really care. Just, hey, you can do anything, you can cheat. I don't care. Just keep playing golf. That's, I mean, my gosh. Sometimes they line their putt up and they keep lining their putt up. They keep lining their putt up as if they're good. You know, they take 5 practice swings. I look at them, and then they hit it. They take 5 practice swings and they hit a bad shot. I say, didn't help, did it? It didn't help. Didn't help you at all. When I played the guy the other day, he was so slow putting. I finally looked at him and said, putt before I die. Just putt before I die. Just putt before I die. Oh. Guard yourself, Tom. What you say to yourself is very important. The second thing I would say is just add value to others. Because one of the greatest ways to improve your self-image is to really take and begin to lose yourself. And then you begin to find yourself in what you do for other people. It's a tremendous way to build up your self-image. I love taking our John Maxwell coaches to these countries where we're transforming. We'll bring for maybe 3 or 4 days. You know, my gosh, in 3 or 4 days, they'll train maybe 15,000 round table facilitators. And they're just really good at it. And I love it because they're giving up the company. They pay all their way. We don't pay anything for them. They pay all the way. They rough it. They different culture, the whole thing. And at the end of the time, they're just so excited because they've spent 3 or 4 days pouring themselves into someone else, and all of a sudden they begin to be. Can I tell you something? When your life is all about you, you are a very selfish, unfulfilled person. I love it so much. Well, what do you think they're thinking? And I said, nothing. They aren't even thinking about it. You think too much of yourself. You know, if you want to be a great communicator, you lose yourself in communication. Great. Everything great is when you lose yourself to find out and to help others and to believe in others. And if you really want to build up your self-image, the moment you help people to see you're adding value to people and see the return of it, it's just huge. I had dinner last night with a wonderful friend, and her and her husband, another guy, and a couple of our team members, and she said something that was really great. She said, the reason I do this business is because I just did help me. And I just love adding value to them. And I just sat there and I said, that's where it is. That's where it is. That's where you get yourself in. The third thing I just say to you is, if you want to build yourself in, is do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. Just do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. Right action equal right emotion, and so many times we don't feel like doing something, and what we have to understand is emotions follow action. I remember many years ago reading Applied Psychology by George Crane. It was a phenomenal book, and he basically said, if you want to feel good, do good, and then you feel good. And he, if I feel depressed, I'm going to sing. If I feel sad, I'm going to laugh. If I feel fear, I'm going to punch ahead. Just take the action. Just take the action. I wrote this in my notes, but I think it's so important. Good character decisions increase your self-image more than any other kind of decision. Linda Kaplan Taylor is one of my favorite people. She's a great lady, creative marketing lady in New York City, big marketing. She's the lady that put the duck in Aflac, okay? That's how big she is, all right? That's all you gotta know. She's the one that put beef in Wendy's too. Where's the beef, okay? So she's just creative, and I love being with her. Her son, as a very young child, was a major national chess champion. she was telling me a story recently. We were together. She said he won one year, and so he's back in the finals of the national championship for the next year. And so it was his opponent's turn, and he forgot to hit the timer. And of course, if you hit the timer, you don't do it for so long, and then he'll take the move away from you. And she said his opponent had the edge on. And so her son looked at him and said, you forgot to hit the timer. So he did, and then he made a move and beat her son. They were all done. She said, if you wouldn't have told your opponent to hit the timer, he'd have been disqualified, and you would have won. And this, oh mom, that isn't right. And I just like that. Oh, that's not right. He understood. He understood. Just do the right thing. It didn't build yourself in. When I was a young leader, I was given this, and it was very helpful to me. It's called High Road Leadership. I don't know if you've ever heard this, but it just helped me as a young leader. People are illogical, unreasonable, self-centered, love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Do good anyway. If you're successful, you win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. If the good you do today will be forgotten, the good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest and frank anyway. The biggest man with the biggest ideas can be shot down with the smallest man with the smallest mind. Think big anyway. People favor underdogs but follow the top dogs. Fight for the underdogs anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build it anyway. People really need help, but may attack you if you help them. Help them anyway. Give the world the best that you have, and you'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have. Just high road leadership. When you begin to live that kind of life, it just will take and develop your self-image and increase it. Number 4, every day get a win. Every day get a win. Every day do everything that you possibly can to put a win under your belt. And again, the greatest way to put a win under your belt is do something for somebody that they couldn't do for themselves. But every day get a win under your belt. Number 5, be prepared. Be prepared. One of the keys to really being successful is being prepared on the front end. And it's where you get your confidence. It's where you really get ahead of the game. When you're prepared, when you look in the mirror, you just feel better about yourself. I was over one afternoon at Jack Nicklaus's house. And we're talking about golf, and we had a good experience. We went over to his putting green. So he was working on my putting a little bit. I missed about 5 straight putts. I said, "Here, let me have your putter." So he got over the ball with my putter, and I said, "No, Jack, you bring it down." And he putted. He just putted the ball right in the hole. And I said, "Jack, I'm a better teacher than you are." Very obvious, I'm a better teacher. When I talk about being prepared, I asked him one time. I said, when you're in a major championship and it's the 18th green, you got a 7-foot putt to make to win. I asked him. I said, "Are you nervous?" I mean, what did that do? And he looked at me and said, "No." He said, "I've had a lot of those putts," but he said, "I was never nervous." I said, "Hey, that's amazing. Tell me about that." He said, "First of all, that 7-foot putt, you like that? I putted that 7-foot putt 10,000. And he said, "I have practiced that putt so many times that when I get over to the major championship, I'm not nervous. I basically say, I have done this so many times. That ball will believe it." And he said, "I found that preparation relieves anxiety, and it gives confidence." And I thought, it just it just makes sense. It just makes sense. So constantly be on that front end of preparation for yourself. Number 6, use your mirror to look at yourself, not look at others. And when I'm not talking about arrogance here, like, oh my gosh, I got to look at myself, I want to see myself. But I'm talking now about introspection. Look at the mirror to do introspection. I remember years ago, I was too much of a people pleaser, and do they like me was more important than do I like myself. Are you with me? And so instead of looking in the mirror at myself and liking myself, I was looking in the mirror, looking at others, and do they like me? Do they like me? John Wooden said, don't become too concerned about what others think of you, but be very concerned about what you think of yourself. Wow. And I found that when I quit worrying about what other people thought of me, it really released me as far as friendships that I needed to release in my life. It just really helped me as far as allowing me to get over things and get over people. Let me close with this, because this law of the mirror is such an important one. Here's what I'm going to say to you, I think that's essential to you as leaders. We see others not as they are. We see others as we are. So when I look in the mirror and I see myself as inadequate, I see others as inadequate. When I see myself as not feeling good about me, I don't feel good about you either. It just transfers over. And so when I look in the mirror, what I need to do is I just need to just understand that how I see me is how I'm going to be. So if I see myself in the mirror as a trusting person, and the odds are pretty high that I'll trust you. If I see myself as a person that takes shortcuts, guess what? I'll look at you and probably think you take shortcuts. I see you not as you are. I see you as I am. So the more that we increase our self-image, the more that we see ourselves in a better light, guess what? That transfers right over to our people, and we see them in a better light.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Here's what I'd like to do is I want to ask Kevin and Nick, I'm going to pair the two of you guys up together. Thank you. And then Julian and Landon, I'm going to pair you guys up together. And I want you to just take a moment to share a couple of the things that you took away from that. And then I'll wrap up by giving you a couple assignments, and we'll call it from there.
Hey, Julian, can you hear me? No, I'm muted. Hey, Julian, can you talk to me?
So,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
So, so I really like the first thing. He said you must see value in yourself to add value to yourself. And that was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And then also the last thing that he was focused on was we see others not as they are, we see others as we see ourselves. And that's huge. And I can admit to being guilty of that as well. So that's pretty awesome. I love that one.
so when I was like,
Yeah. I mean, I really like that. And then also how well you lead determines how well you succeed. And then just getting a win every day. Just doing your best to get a win every day and keep it going.
Yeah, I like how he talked about the self-talk, how everyone should talk to themselves, because I've been doing that my whole life, so I'm talking myself. So,
Nice. Let's see. And then just being conscientious over like what you say to yourself, and then
yeah,
make sure that's in a positive light, so that way you view others in a positive light.
Same thing. Emotions follow actions.
Oh.
And that's totally true. Like, you just
But yeah, overall, it's really cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Your emotions say no.
Cool. I appreciate you guys sharing with each other.
So if you don't feel like doing it, you're not gonna do it. Just follow your actions.
I'll share some of mine. One of them is that my self-image is the law of my behavior. If I view myself as a 5, I could have 1 day or 2 days where I act like an 8, but I'll always revert back to a 5. So one of the best ways to bring out my peak performance is to be conscious of how I view myself. And one of the best ways to improve my self-image is to lose myself by giving to others. And then the story he told at the end with Jack Nicklaus and that 7-foot putt 10,000 times really resonated with me, right? That preparation relieves anxiety. And I know I highlighted for everybody who was here that last week Kevin was really not feeling confident with his interviews. He was feeling kind of off. And so he came in the office and he did a ghost interview. I think it was a solid 2.5 hours. I think he did 5 of them just back to back to back to back to back over and over and over. And by the end, he was like, now I feel so much more prepared, right, than he had when he was practicing in front of live applicants. So there's a lot to be said for that. So let me wrap up by giving you guys a couple of assignments to work on leaving here. Number 1, I know many of you have already done this, but if you have not yet, get a profile audit for your Facebook. And the easiest way to do that is simply post in the GroupMe and ask someone for it. Number 2 is practice your PR script. If you're in the office, again, don't do your practice on live applicants, practice it yourself so that you can execute with live applicants. For those of you that are away at school, I'm going to upload the script on the website. I recommend printing out a copy and just practicing it. Even if you just do it once or twice a week, it doesn't take more than a couple minutes. But if you keep doing that, by the time we get to May, you're going to be strong. All right. Number 3 is add your first friends. I recommend for all of you, starting with your high school class. I recommend all of you guys starting with your high school class. But talk to me before you branch out beyond that, and I'll give each of you guys a targeted school to go after. And I didn't cover the checkpoints earlier, so I'll give them to you now. By March 1st, we're looking for all of our candidates to have 500 Facebook friends, not including your mom and Nana. All right, Facebook Jumpstart friends. By March 15th, we're looking for 1,000. April 1st, 1,500. And by April 15th, we're looking for each person to have 2,000.
What was the one before April 15th?
It's in between 1,000 and 2,000.
So was that April 1st?
April 1st is 1,500.
So every 15 days, we're looking for another 500 added.
I see.
Okay, for the college students, talk to your professors about getting out of finals early. And for all of you guys, make sure your calendar is marked that summer kickoff is April 12th and 13th. And we do expect all of our summer leaders to be there. Some of you guys will need to look into flights. And just FYI, if you fly, the company offers a reimbursement program, but make sure that's in your calendar, excuse me, and that your professors and coaches have those dates. That said, it is 7:31, and that's everything I've got. So to be courteous to your time, I'm going to end it there. But if you guys have any questions, I will stick around. Otherwise, just a friendly reminder that next week, we're going to start on Tuesdays from 3:15 to 4:45, and I look forward to seeing you guys there.